we going to work this time? Okay, we're electrical wiring routing on page 37, 38. This is the 2013 BRZ wiring diagram. Technical manual reference information. Understanding what you're looking at. Okay, initially you have your basic info, introductions, connectors, and all that, and general details. You might want to read the beginning of it. But tracing and routing, if you have to do new wiring or you have to replace something or you need to find something. Let's say you got a engine code that appeared that says your EFI engine coolant temperature sensor is bad. So that's C35, right? E35, it should be towards the front, right? Maybe. There it is. This one. Oh, hey, look at that. We could just go reference generally the center back part of the engine next to this piece that's grounded to the engine, which I mean, obviously, you know that piece. If you look at the back of the engine, you can see it. And these are color coded. The main harness is blue and the engine harness is green. I think the battery voltage harness is purple, and then your transmission harness is red or whatever that is. I'm not sure about this orange thing here. But anyways, let's say we are rerouting the camshaft timing assembly. Okay, we need to find them. If you don't know where they're at, they're on the engine. They're these front ones. Could be that one and that one. And maybe that one and that one. 22, 23 and 24, and 5 and 7. 5 and 7, 24, and 23. Okay, we're removing these. We're not going to use the VVT system anymore. We're putting new cylinders in. We're doing an engine swap. That's what's actually happening here. And this is why I'm doing this. But so we already have everything in place for the 4-cylinder. We need 2 more cylinders. We need our ignition times 2, and we need our fuel times 2. Hey, look, we have 2 and 2 right here. So if we're doing 4 signals, let's hope that we can route them to a 2-pin system, because that's what these are. Maybe. I mean, but we can use the reference manual here to find out that. Okay, we searched for what we found, the camshaft timing oil control valve assembly, which is 2-pin. Look at that. C23, C5, C24, and C7. This is the actual diagram for them, and it's all color-coded. Isn't that nice? Well, actually, that's the wire coloring, but still. It's like a road map you have here. And this block up here is the ECM, where you have A33, A34, A35, A36. If you go back up, the next one down, right here. Your ECU is off of the main harness, which is the blue one. The teal one is going to be your dash harness. But we're looking at the main harness, these right here. It's hard for me to point this out on the computer, but I think I need to go down. One more? Yes, this one. A33, 34, 35, and 36. What do you know? Those numbers match what we were just looking at down here. A33, 34, 35, and 36. So this is the ECM, the ECU, which the camshaft assembly oils, camshaft timing oil control valve assembly plugs into the ECU, and we can see that right here. So if we are going to replace these with injectors and ignition, then we need to know where it's at on the ECU to be able to reprogram the ECU to be like, hey, we need to fire a signal on C23, C5, and then another signal for injection on C24 and C7, while these are our ignition. Well, actually, we do ignition first. We would need our ignition to fire, injectors to fire first, and then our ignition. Once we get the rotation on the full stroke. But if you're looking at the ECM here, how do we know what we're looking at, where the pins are? To be able to tell it to reroute these to that. If you're looking here, you have A33A, B, C, and D. These all mean something. It means that these are all being used. So, on the bottom side, we have this D, this D, this D, and that D. And then OE2, OE1, OC2, OC1. Then we have C up top. We have a C here. It's the same deal, A35C. So if we're referencing C, then this is pin 1 for A35. This is pin 8 for A35, and this is pin 20. And so, if we're searching for our D pins, which go to the injectors and not the canister module, we only need to be referencing the wires for the camshaft timing oil control valve and assembly, which is D5, 7, 16, and 17. You might want to write this down if you're using these. A5, it's D. A36, which is D, on pins 5, 7, 16, and 17. Now to find this, we need our A36. Search for that. Give it a minute because it's got a million of them to show up. It's searching for the entire ECU. And so you have how many pins that run to the ECU? Here we are at our A36. This is the one we're using for the additional signals for adding a V6 for 2 more cylinders. So if you follow the line down right here, it'll be the second one up. Second plug up. Or the third plug down. Wait, wrong. It's the fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't count. So it's the bottom one. I hate computers. I can't see straight. Yeah, it's the bottom one. Follow it up. Yep. It's the very bottom one. So if you were tapping into that under the dash or something like that, it would be easier to access that one. But if you just go up once, you'll be straight at the connector on your search. And so we have pins 5, 7, 16, and 17. 5, 7, 16, and 17. You can't mistake them because of how uniquely designed the connector is. Where these are empty here, and these are empty right there. And that has 2 empty slots, and those have 2 empty slots. And they're all different. So you cannot plug the ECU in but one way. Don't try to force it. And so the same thing goes for the rest of it. If you're looking for C5, which is the timing control valve, and you put in C5, it's going to take a minute for the results to populate. Maybe. No, there it goes. Search. There it is, what we were looking at the first time. But let's say this connector is broken, we need to replace it. Then we go down further to our C5. Oh, there it is. That's the exact connector. That looks just like it if you're looking at the front of it, and you have your pins 1 and 2. And if you're looking at it from this angle, where you press on the top of it to pull it out, then that's how you're looking at it, where the flap is on the top, and so the left is 1 and the right is 2. You cannot mistake that. I'm sure someone can, but still. So, 1 and 2. So if we're looking at it from this angle, then the left side is the bottom and the right side is the top. And it's just turned counterclockwise. And that is how you understand the 2013 BRZ wiring diagrams. And so you would know that the the pin on the right side with the flap on the top is the ECU signal side. Don't quote me on this, but R should be the signal. I'm not that far into the information here on what the red is, but it should be power. In a standard setup, it isn't the power, but do not quote that. In a general sense, though, tracing your wires and understanding the information on this paper and what you're looking at in your hands, I've kind of sort of explained this. Let me see if I can find this, because I'm doing my research on understanding the ECU side and then what's on paper, what's on the car, and how to wire in extra cylinders. We're switching from 4 to 6 cylinders with no variable valve timing because honestly it's overrated. Code. That may be what it is. That may be your code line for... No? Yeah? I don't know. US2. It's a lot of work to disassemble all of this information. It appears they try to make it as easy as possible. You have a CAN low and high. It could be on the CAN signal line, but I doubt it. Do you have this red consistently showing up? So this symbol here is ground, and so we know that. The black is typically the ground. If this is there, that means that's the ground. I think it may be the ignition power switch. because it's not going to send just straight power to it. And it might be running through a relay or the main fuse and stuff like that. So you're not going to see it say that it goes straight to battery. Should have something in between it, which one, your ignition, and two, some sort of safety feature. I would say that there could be a fuse between ground side, but that's not what I'm thinking. Nope, they have battery side fuse. I don't know, it would be nice to know what this is. I guess you can comment if you know what that is. Okay, so here we are again. If you know what these are, I don't see the battery side, but yeah. So if we know what's going into it, but we know that the ECU is going to get the signal from the car through these ports. So it just magically huh. I think that that's using the ignition control module. The actual coil packs are 3-pin, I think. Which should be this. Okay, so then here, the signal going to the ECU, it's just like, hey, this block goes to that. But if you go to the actual assembly for it, then you have your information here. Which the BRY is that one actually. So yeah. This is only like my second or third time looking at the wiring diagrams. The first one was initially getting the car set up for a standalone system. And I totally misunderstood everything. What is the BRW for? I'm pretty positive that this is not a big deal. My food. Okay. How much more do we have here? So those are ground, 100%. BW is ground. BW is ground. And then, okay, so the BRW, the brown one coming in, is the relay, if I main relay. So we can tap off of that relay and use the single signal going in to the ECU and then a ground. If we buy the same injectors and use these, or not injectors, but coil packs, if we buy the same exact coil packs and use those on the 6-cylinder, then that's how we do it. We are going to ground one, send one line to the ECU, which is our A36D block, pin 5, pin 7, pin 16, and pin 17. So we need two more. 5 and 7 can go to it in the same fashion that IGT 1, 2, and 3 and 4. So we will have our IGT5, IGT6 on pin 5 and 7, keeping in the sense of order. Can I pause this video? No. And then the brown goes off of the same exact relay, which runs to the battery. And then our other one's ground. And so we'll be getting sent a signal from the ECU like, hey, fire, and it hits the relay. And it does what it's supposed to do. Okay. Wow. Let's go back up here, make sure everything looks good. Yeah, if we were to do this in order and have a sense of symmetry, then see how I can't point on the screen with my finger because there's no camera here. IGT 1, 2, and 3, 4. Well, we're making IGT 5 and 6, which is going to be on pin 7 and 5 for the signal for 2 more coil packs. It makes sense. The hard part is getting it to work because things happen. But yeah, that's it. You can understand how to read the wiring diagram through what I've said here for the most part and be able to modify the system through this. If you have anything to say about this, go ahead because I'm not an expert on this. I don't know what this goes to. We've diagnosed what these go to, what the other one goes to, what the BW goes to. We know that that's ground. We've traced them out. But yeah, if you have any comments, concerns, complaints, I don't really care. There's no real rules to what you can say or can't say. Go ahead.